The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame. Chapter 1. The Riverbank. The mole had been working very hard all the morning, spring cleaning his little home. First with brooms, then with dusters, then on ladders and steps and chairs, with a brush and a pail of whitewash, till he had dust in his throat and eyes, and splashes of whitewash all over his black fur, and an aching back and weary arms. Spring was moving in the air above and in the earth below, around even his dark and lowly little house. And suddenly he flung down his brush and said, "Bother! Oh, blow! And also hang spring cleaning!" and bolted out of the house without even waiting to put on his coat. Making for a steep tunnel, which answered in his case to the gravelled drive owned by animals whose residences are nearer to the sun and air, he scraped and scratched, and scrabbled and scrooged, and then he scrooged again, and scrabbled and scraped, muttering, "Up we go, up we go," till, at last, his snout came out into the sunlight, and he found himself rolling in the warm grass of a great meadow. "This is fine," he said to himself. "This is better than whitewashing." Jumping off all his four legs at once, in the joy of living and spring without its cleaning, he pursued his way across the meadow until he reached the further side. He rambled busily along the hedgerows, along copses, finding everywhere birds building, flowers budding, leaves thrusting. As he meandered aimlessly along, suddenly he stood by the edge of a full-fed river. Never in his life had he seen a river before. All was a shake and a shiver, gleams and sparkles, chatter and bubble. The mole was bewitched. By its side he trotted spellbound, and when tired at last, he sat on the bank. As he sat and looked across the bank to the bank opposite, a dark hole just above the water's edge caught his eye, and dreamingly he fell to considering what a snug dwelling place it would make for an animal with few wants, and fond of a bijou riverside residence, when something bright and small seemed to twinkle down in the heart of it, like a tiny star. But it could hardly be a star. Then, as he looked, it winked at him, and so declared itself to be an eye, and a small face began gradually to grow up round it, like a frame round a picture. A brown face with whiskers, a grave round face with a twinkle in its eye, small neat ears, and thick silky hair. It was the water rat. "Hello, Mole," said the water rat. "Hello, rat," said the mole. "Would you like to come over?" So inquired the rat presently. "Oh, it's all very well to talk," said the mole rather pettishly, he being new to a river and riverside life and its ways. The rat said nothing, but stooped and unfastened a rope and hauled on it, and lightly stepped into a little boat. It was painted blue outside and white within, and was just the size for two animals, and the mole's whole heart went out to it at once. The rat sculled smartly across and made fast. Then he held up his forepaw, and as the mole stepped gingerly down, and to his surprise found himself seated in the stern of a real boat. "This has been a wonderful day," said he, as the rat shoved off and took to the sculls again. "Do you know, I've never been in a boat before in all my life." "What?" cried the rat, open-mouthed. "Never been in a... You've never... Well, what have you been doing then?" "Is it so nice as all that?" asked the mole. "Nice? It's the only thing," said the rat, as he leant forward for his stroke. "Believe me, my friend, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, half so much worth doing as simply messing about in boats. Simply messing, he went on dreamily. Messing about in boats. Messing. Look ahead, rat! Cried the mole suddenly. It was too late. The boat struck the bank full tilt. The rat lay on his back in the bottom of the boat, his heels in the air. About in boats, he went on, picking himself up with a pleasant laugh. Look here, if you've really nothing else on hand this morning, supposing we drop down the river together and have a long day of it. The mole waggled his toes from sheer happiness, spread his chest with a sigh, and leaned back blissfully into the soft cushions. What a day I'm having! Let us start at once! Hold hard a minute then, said the rat. He looped the painter through a ring in his landing stage, climbed up into his hole, and reappeared, staggering, under a fat wicker luncheon basket. Shove that under your feet, he observed to the mole. Then he untied the painter and took the sculls again. What's inside it? Asked the mole, wriggling with curiosity. There's cold chicken inside it, replied the rat briefly. Cold tongue, cold ham, cold beef, pickled gherkins, salad, French rolls, crust sandwiches, potted meat, ginger beer, lemonade, soda water. Oh, stop, stop, stop! Cried the mole in ecstasies. This is too much! Do you really think so? Inquired the rat seriously. It's only what I always take, and the other animals tell me I'm a mean beast and cut it very fine. The mole never heard a word he was saying. Absorbed in the new life, the scents, the sounds and the sunlight, he trailed a paw in the water and dreamed waking dreams. The water rat let the good little fellow he was scold on. I like your clothes awfully, old chap, he remarked, after some hour or so. I'm going to get a black velvet smoking jacket myself some day. I beg your pardon? Said the mole, pulling himself together with an effort. You must think me very rude, but all this is so new to me. So this is a river? The river, corrected the rat. And you really live by it? What a jolly life. By it, and with it, and on it and in it, said the rat. It's my world, and I don't want any other. What it hasn't got is not worth having, and what it doesn't know is not worth knowing. But isn't it a bit dull at times? The mole ventured to ask. Just you and the river, and no one else to pass a word with? No one else to... Well, of course, you're new to it. The bank is so crowded nowadays that many people are moving away altogether. Oh no, it isn't what it used to be at all. Kingfishers, dabchicks, moorhens, all day long, always wanting you to do something. What lies over there? Asked the mole, waving a paw towards a wood that darkly framed the water meadows on one side. That? Oh, that's just the wildwood, said the rat shortly. We don't go there very much, we river bankers. Aren't they very nice people in there? Well, the squirrels are all right, and the rabbits, some of them. The rabbits are a mixed lot, and then there's Badger. He lives right in the heart of it. Dear old Badger, nobody interferes with him. Why? Who should interfere with him? Asked the mole. Well, of course, there are others. Weasels and stoats, and foxes and so on. They're all right in a way, but they break out sometimes, there's no denying it, and, well, you can't really trust them, that's the fact. And beyond the wild wood? The wide world. And that doesn't matter to either of us. Leaving the main stream, they passed into what seemed like a landlocked